37 features, 4 minutes, and I didn't write a single line of code. Ralph Wiggum, yep, the Simpsons character is now an extended plugin within Claude Code. Enables Claude Code to run for hours on its own and able to complete multi-step complex tasks and build entire apps. In this video, I'm going to walk us through exactly how this setup works, installing it, getting it up and running, the best prompts to use, how to structure them, and how it's completely shifting how we build AI apps. And make sure to come across to the community if you want to get access to all of the prompts, templates, everything I've used in this video. So let's jump straight in. So what is Ralph Wiggum? Well, essentially it's enabling our code to be able to autonomously work in the background over an extended period of time to achieve a specific goal. What we want to do is have a really clear instruction, and this is going to be our PRD, which we're going to touch on in a second. We're then going to give it the tasks that it needs to complete, and then we're going to check each time we iterate through, has that task actually been completed? And that's where Ralph steps in. We're basically saying if it's completed all of the different user stories and tasks we've asked it to complete, then we're going to be done. If it hasn't, then we're going to keep looping through until it's achieved everything and we've got the end result with perhaps a few bugs that we need to go through and just tidy up. Think of it as like having sprints that we're able to achieve. But what are sprints? Well, if you've never heard the term before, it's been used for many, many years in software development and many other different ways of going through and completing short, sharp stints of actually achieving a specific goal or piece of work. So for example here, say we've got all of these different tasks that we want to complete. We wouldn't be able to do all of them in one go. So what we would do is get rid of this and say we would choose one specific task that we want to work on. That's what we would put maybe as the highest priority that we need to achieve. We would then have this as the first task that we're going to go through and complete. And this helps build out that multi-phase plan of what we want to achieve in what order. So it could be that we've got the several tasks here and we would step by step, previously with AI, get it to complete each one in a specific order. The reason for this is because maybe some of these tasks actually relate to each other, specific design elements or theory or logic, anything like this. We need to make sure it almost happens sequentially in the order that we want. What we're able to do with Ralph is it's able to take over this process and it helps us prioritize the different ones. So you may be familiar with aspects like Kanban boards, where we're able to go through and manually specify the different tasks in the backlog that we want to achieve, and then periodically move them through to say being in progress. So we're working on it at the moment. We can call out if we've got any issues that block it, and then we can also move it to done once we've completed that entire tasks. This is where we're able to go through with Ralph and analyze all of the different tasks we want to complete and then move them through the process of developing the different aspects to add them into the codes that we want. But what is Ralph actually really good at? Well, that's why I mentioned around the PRDs and having a really clear defined task for it to complete. Because it's really good at those well-defined tasks, clear criteria, iteration and refinement, greenfield projects, and automatic verification, i.e. tests, user case stories, all of these different things it can do and verify if it's achieved that output correctly. What it tends to struggle with though is anything that requires human judgment, design decisions, one-shots, unclear success criteria, or production debugging. And what this means for us is the biggest difference is actually the skill in the operator, because it's going to come down to writing really good prompts, not just using the best model. And what this really means for how we use it day to day is that we need to spend way more time up front on the product requirements document or PRD. And what this does is it really clearly defines the end result that you're trying to achieve. So what you want to build, its purpose, its features, its functionalities, and its behavior. We want a really clear goal of what it's going to do, the output we want, the user stories of how customers, clients are going to interact it, any designs and interactions from the user, and then any clarifications and questions at the end. And what this really means for us as the user is once we've specified all of this detail to Ralph and Claude Code, it's able to go through and start iterating on the design and the development to achieve this goal as quickly as possible. But for us as the user, what it means is we're essentially turning into something called a Scrum Master, where all we're tending to do is actually specify the work package, or in this case, the PRD, and what we want it to achieve, and then go through and just help refine those outputs, remove blockers, explain anything in a bit more details, really to get that output that we want to achieve. So now let's come through and get it installed. We're going to do VS Code just to get it set up, and we're going to launch Claude within this application. We're going to say, yes, we're happy for it to proceed. Now the GitHub repository I'll include linked down below so that you can find it nice and easily. And this is the official one from Anthropic with all of the different details, best practices, any escape hatches, the philosophy of how we use it, and much, much more. They've also got the original technique from the original designer, Jeffrey Huntley, in here with some of the information. And they've got another version in here as well, which is the orchestrator, which is definitely worth a read because it just enhances some of the features that the normal version of Ralph also includes. So to get it installed, in this case, I'm going to come across to VS Code just to show you all of the different files and everything for the app we're developing. We're going to do Claude in our terminal just to start up the process. And now we need to go through and install the official Ralph Wiggum plugin. So first, if you haven't got the marketplace installed, you'll need to come through and install it with this command here. That will just make sure that you can access all of these different extra plugins that we want to use. Next, we want to type this command in here, which is going to install the official plugin that we want to use. We're going to say, yes, we want to install for us, and we'll let that run through. As you can see there, it's now successfully installed. Now we're going to restart it. So to restart it, we're going to do /exit. We're just going to exit there. And now as we can see it, they're coming back through. So just for formatting, I'm just going to get up a new terminal for us to go through. So we'll do Claude. It's just going to bring it back up for us as we can see there. And now we've got it all installed and we can use it. Now to check it's there, we're just going to do plugins and list. So now we can see all of the different plugins that are installed if we just come across. As we can see here, we've got the Ralph Loop and Ralph Wiggums all installed, ready to go. So if we just come back out of here, so now we'll be able to start going through and actually getting it to produce our output. Now, as I mentioned before, the PRD or product requirements document is really important. So all of this is going to be included in the community. Again, all of the links, all of the different commands, everything can run through. But what I want to showcase is just how much detail we really need to go into explaining the different user stories, what we want the outcome to achieve, some of the different elements involved. Again, I just got Claude to do this quick example here, but we really want to give it as much information as possible, the criteria it's checking against, everything in here, so that when we let it run in the background, it's able to give us the best possible output. And as we can see at the end there, the completion checklist. So the use case that I've got for us today is that we want to build a complete AI opportunity management dashboard. Think of this as like an opportunity hopper, if you've used that in industry before, that helps businesses track, evaluate, and prioritize AI automation opportunities. As we can see here, we're just going to get it to go through and get the output. I've just said it's a demo just to make sure it doesn't build it out too complex and take forever. So what we're now going to do is just come to our terminal on the right. Of course, we've got this as a reference document. So to use it in the request, we're going to do a / because we're going to be executing this within our code. As you can see here, it's popped up, but just to find it, you want to start typing Ralph and it will show you all of the different commands in here. We're going to be using the Ralph loop. So we want to do tab and it's going to bring it into our terminal, into our command face here. We then need to add our prompt, the number of iterations and the completion text. We're going to paste our request in here, saying that we want it to read our PRD document, and then we want it to go through, verify which order it should start generating the output in. It's got up to 25 iterations without blockers, and we say that we want it to confirm that dashboard is complete at the end, and it's got a maximum of 35 iterations that it's able to do, i.e. keep looping round until it hopefully achieves the output. but something to keep in mind is this is going to be using a lot of your tokens. So again, that's why you need more of those Opus plans to really get the output, but it's a time trade-off versus what this would cost you to outsource it to developers or your own time and everything like this. So now we're happy with that. We're just going to press enter and it's going to start going through and generating everything. As we can see here, it's now reading that PRD document to confirm the requirements of what we want it to achieve. And now it should start going through and actually iterating over and over again until we get that output. So there we go. After 4 minutes, to get back, we're going to say run this local host. We'll just get it through whilst it's doing that. On the left-hand side here, we can see all of the HTML that's for our app. So hopefully that's ready to go. We'll say yes, so we can check out what that response looks like. Okay, so when I load it up, it doesn't show me anything. So we do have an error. So we do Command Option J. It looks like we got some errors here. So we're just going to copy this reference one, come back across to Claude and say, I have the current error. Please resolve ASAP. We'll send this off, see if it's able to go through and just update the code so then we can see it nice and easily. Again, this is why we're starting to have more of that Scrum Master role. Against this and anti-gravity and many others, we're starting to get a few changes that go through in the background, but it's helping do a lot of the heavy lifting. So let's come back across. We'll just close this down and refresh and see if it's now ready to go. We're still getting errors. So we'll just come back and cross and say, still getting errors. We'll see if we can go through and solve it for us. Okay, so it says it's ready to go. We'll come back and just test this out. And there we go. It looks like we're all up and ready. So we've got the Kanban board, we've got the portfolio, priority matrix. So it looks like it thought it succeeded on a few of those, but as we saw, it failed. So as we can see here, it looks like we can move them all across nice and easily, which is great. That's exactly what we want. If we see the priority matrix, it looks like we can open these all up nice and easy. We've got the calculator in here, so let's just change that to 45. Yeah, it looks like everything's working nice and as it should in the background. If we come back across to the Kanban board, add an opportunity, we'll say Claude and then code. We'll say that it's going to be an operations priority. We'll say high. ROI will say that we spend 50 hours a week. We're £85 an hour. 2 employees affected, and it's going to be £2,000 to implement it. So as we can see there, it looks like everything's working correctly. It looks like the Claude code said the ROI isn't calculated, so it looks like that's an error. We'll just go through and top that up, make sure that that's working correctly. But then as you can see there, able to get something set up incredibly quickly. And it's getting easier and easier to just iterate all of these designs, improving the outputs as much as possible. If we wanted that design to look better, which we definitely can, we'll come back across. We'll just do forwards and then plugins. And then another one that I've got installed that is really good is front end designs, as we can see here. So we'll just make sure that that's installed on this version so that we can use it. And we can say using and then front end designs. Please improve the design of the dashboard into a black and gold theme. So as we can see there, it's going through nice and quickly, improving what we want the output to be. Let's check out that final result and see how it's impacted it. There we go. It's all gone through and updated everything as we wanted to. So now if we refresh this, we should get a 10 times better looking dashboard. And there we go. As we can see straight away, I mean, it's not 100%. I would change some of the fonts. I think anti-gravity is absolutely nailing the design of some of their dashboards in there as well. As we can see, it's a little bit funky on the right hand side here. It doesn't look like these are distributed correctly for the bar chart, but it does have all of the information in there that we want to. As we can see, we're able to get our ideas set up incredibly quickly. And again, Ralph Wiggum is just enabling us to get through those iterations, those user stories as much as possible. But remember, the product requirements document, or PRD, really explaining what you want, the success criteria, is just the best thing to use across all of these different tools, regardless. Make sure to comment down below if there's anything else you'd love us to build with anti-gravity, NA10, Claude Code, all of these different AI tools out there. And make sure to come across to the community if you want to get access to all of the prompts, templates, everything I've used in this video, as well as hundreds of other templates that you can use with other businesses or even your own business as well. And stay tuned for more around AI automation, and have a great day.